Warriors have only two paths. Get killed or get better.
Our blood is cheap here, so you'd better learn to adapt.
War is coming.
We're gonna take Barco City!
Hi, welcome everyone for our live conversation with the Warriors cast ahead of the season 3 premiere this Thursday. My name is Jess Vu, and I'm the communications manager at CAPE, the Coalition of Asian Pacifics in Entertainment. If you're new to us, we're a nonprofit organization. We've been around for over 30 years, focusing on uplifting, developing, and training Asian and Pacific Islander talent and artists and leaders in the Hollywood entertainment space, from our cultural consulting, from our development programs, training artists, and also spotlighting projects like this one as they come out. So you can learn more about us at capeusa.org or follow us on social media at capeusa. I am so excited to introduce this panel. Believe it or not, it's been over 2.5 years since our season 2 panel. When our friend Michael Tow approached us to collaborate on this discussion. So we're excited to return to celebrate season 3. All episodes drop this Thursday, June 29th, on the newly branded Max streaming service. Now, without further ado, I'll transfer it to our moderator, Michael. If he can come on. Hi, Michael. How's it going?
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having Cape host this. I appreciate you and Grace and Rianne's help. Thank you so much for our panel here today, the cast of Warrior Season 3. Just watching that teaser, it's amazing that we've come to Season 3, one of my favorite shows. I can't wait to talk to the cast today, but I also want to thank you, the audience, on StreamYard, on YouTube. It's part of the reason why we're here for Season 3 is because of the fans of Warrior who have been so vocal and loud about their support for Warrior 3 to have the season come back. So without further ado, I want to introduce Jason Tobin, who wasn't able to join us today. He's on set in London, on set this very second, but we got a chance to have a conversation with Jason this past weekend. So Rianne, if we could play that video for us.
Last we left in season 2, Young Jun gets handed the reins from Father Jun, and as kind of the new leader. And then we also get left with a little bit of potential, seemed like maybe a little animosity as we've gotten news from Assam and some of the secrets that he held. What do we have in store for Young Jun in season 3?
Wow. Well, you know that expression, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I think this is one of the themes that really gets explored in season 3 with Young Jun. And this is something that I've obviously really appreciated about our writing team and our showrunners is how they keep pushing the story. We all know, we feel it, you can hear it from the audience that they love this relationship between Young Jun and Assam. But you know what? It can't all stay pretty. You know what I mean? Like, it's storytelling. We've got to test these relationships, and we start to see it fray, and in season 2, and then of course in season 3 we explore it. I mean, the one-liner for the poster, is choose a side. So Assam is going to be caught in this middle. I'm not giving anything away there,
So Jason, you have been part of some amazing projects throughout your career. Some really groundbreaking projects for Asian Americans, including Better Luck Tomorrow, and of course Warrior here, breaking stereotypes, with your roles. What does it feel like to bring projects like Warrior to our community?
Wow. I feel a lot of things, actually. A lot of things. I would say I'm immensely proud, of Warrior, what it means to people, what it represents, and what it says, and in many ways, you know, the love and the outpouring of the love from the audience, and really pushing and wanting to make this show more successful and viewed by more people. It really reminds me of Better Luck Tomorrow and our experience with that movie, and how it captured the imagination, and people said, we need other people to see this. People need to see this. And it's really crazy that in many ways, Warrior is my Better Luck Tomorrow. You know, there's been a 20-year gap between when Better Luck Tomorrow came out till now, when season 3 is about to come out, and it's been a hell of a journey. Lots of ups, lots of downs, and I really feel like this movie, this show is my Better Luck Tomorrow. It's like the gift, you know, a gift, you know, from that originated from working on films like Better Luck Tomorrow. And you know, it's crazy how, like, to this day, I still hear from so many people. I meet people that tell me how impactful Better Luck Tomorrow was on their lives. And then similarly with Warrior, it's like I'm hearing the same message, you know what I mean? And for me, on a personal level, I can't believe it. This is always what I dreamt of, always what I wanted. You know, I wanted always to be a great actor, but more importantly, I wanted to be part of something important.
Thank you so much for joining, and best of luck on season 3.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. Best of luck on set today. If you haven't, and his character, Young Jin in Warrior, is fantastic. And he was saying how his role now is just kind of the exact opposite. And it's great to kind of see the workings of an actor and all the dynamic kind of roles one can play. I'd like to introduce our panel here today. Thank you so much for having this amazing cast. We have Olivia Cheng with us, who plays Toy. Hi, Olivia. Nice to see you.
Michael. Nice to see you again. Thanks so much for organizing us.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. And we also have Perry Young, who plays Father Jun.
Hey, thanks for having me, Michael and Cabe, and hello, Olivia.
Hey, Perry. Welcome. We have Chen Tang, who plays Hong.
Woo-woo.
Hey, what's up, Michael? Thanks for having us.
Hey, how are you?
Good,
finally,
good. Thank you, guys.
And finally, we have Dianne Doan, who plays
Hi, everyone. Thank you for
Dianne.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
So good to see you all. It's amazing.
Great to see everybody. And actually, if you're watching, because the fans have been so important for Warrior, I'd love to see where you're at from, you know, where you're kind of chiming in from on StreamYard. If you want to put your location on the comments, and then later on we'll kind of go back to the audience for questions. So get your questions ready. Olivia, I'd love to start with you. Tell us a little bit about what went through your mind with this project being such a special project, but all the hurdles that it had to go through season 1 and season 2 with everything happening at Cinemax, and then hearing that it was canceled, but then the news when you heard that it was resurrected for season 3. What was going through your mind?
You know, it really reminds me of that children's story, The Little Engine That Could. You know, that perseverance and that diligence. And I've said this before, that I feel like Bruce Lee, wherever he is, he's, you know, dressed in his like cool 70s aviator sunglasses and some cool tracksuit, and he's just chilling, like, I told you guys, be water. You know, like, this show has gone through so many challenges, and I know that we as a cast, we grieved this show. We thought it was done. So to get the chance for it to come back for it to be reborn, I think it's an opportunity that none of us take for granted. And so we're incredibly excited to just be days away from it finally coming out. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, can you believe it was 2.5 years ago when we were having this discussion, and it just felt lucky to have a season 2 with all the turmoil, and then to think that at that point we'd be here for season 3. How exciting is that? If you think about Toy, there is, if there's an Asian scene in American historical pieces or westerns, it's usually the stereotypical Asian female brothel owner who's very one-dimensional. Toy is a female brothel owner, but anything but stereotypical. Talk to me a little bit about your character.
I'm assuming everyone may know, but in case there's someone who is not aware, Atoy is actually based on a real life madame here in San Francisco. I just landed in San Francisco today. So Atoy is based on one of the first Asian women, one of the first Asian immigrants, one of the first and arguably one of the most notorious madames of this city. So we're obviously a fictionalized version of who she might have been. I think that, as an artist, we can't shy away from playing these roles, especially during this time, sex workers and Chinese women being brought over here for that purpose was just a reality of the time. But I love that what our show does is it takes any stereotype you might expect of her at first and really turns it on its head. Because as you get to know Atoy, you realize that, like so many characters on this show, she's a mix of everything. She's complicated, she's flawed, she's nuanced, she's a hypocrite, she's kind, she's vulnerable, she's all kinds of colors. And sometimes two opposing truths exist in the same space. And I think that's what makes a really compelling character.
Absolutely. Thank you, Olivia.
You're welcome.
Perry, how are you?
Hey, brother.
Nice to see you.
I'm good. Good to see you, Michael.
Perry, I know that Bruce Lee was such a big hero of yours.
Mm.
What has it meant to be working on a show that was based on some of his writings, and also having a team that's executive produced by his daughter Shannon? And what does that feel like for you?
Oh my God. I know we don't have much time, but I could write a book about that. I mean, I was born in Oakland, California, and I just, ever since I was a kid, I heard about Bruce Lee having a Kung Fu studio in Oakland. So over the years, I did some research and found out that where his Kung Fu studio was and where he lived and how, the garage, his first Kung Fu studio, in his, that was in his garage, was near where I lived in East Oakland. And recently, when I had lunch with Shannon, I asked, well, where was Brandon born? And Brandon went, oh, hold on. She just started texting her mom. Hey, mom, she called. She said, hey, mom, where was Brandon born? And she goes, oh, East Oakland. I went, oh, my God, maybe he was born in the hospital I was born in, And it was just like my heart was pounding because it was like, I'm so close to my hero. Bruce was the one that we thought showed us Chinatown kids what is possible. He's the first image on the celluloid screen that I thought, that's kind of like me, I mean, not that I thought I could ever do anything like that, but it was like this beacon of light in, our little ghetto, Oakland's Chinatown, so to be able to be a part of his legacy in some way and to know Shannon personally, I'm just like, earlier with the interview with Youngjun, it's just like, it's like the best possible thing that can ever have happened to me as an Asian American actor. I mean, when I first saw the script and the call for the characters or the announcement on Deadline, I called my manager and said, I will audition for anything in that show. Just have them send me anything, And, the fact that they sent me something and I read that I was able to read for, I was kind of blown away by that. And I just can't, the first day I set foot on set and saw Shannon, I went, I better not. I can't F this up. Because this is it. This is real. As real as it can get for my career. So, and not just that, but Bruce just meant everything to me in terms of guidance, you know, like his philosophy. Once when I was, he was my childhood hero. And then when I went to school and college, and I was really exploring what I wanted to say in the art world. And my minor, actually, my college degree is in fine art. And then I minored in Asian American studies. So I was trying to figure out, what do I do with myself? And then I read this quote by Bruce Lee, and he said, essentially, it all comes down to him wanting to share the beauty of the Chinese culture. And I went, that's what I want to do, actually. So that's the kind of thing that I just borrowed from Bruce, or adopted, you know, or appropriated. And I think it's been my driving goal, is that, hey, if I could just share the beauty of the Chinese culture, then I'm good, you know, with whatever I do. Yeah. So it, you know, it just means a lot. It's just he's just my hero.
Thank you, Perry. And you mentioned that piece with Shannon. I felt a bit of that way. I felt, well, exactly that way, but maybe not as strong, because not in our from cast, but just when she joined us last time for season 2, and boy, that connection to her father and everything that she's done. I want to say hello to Chen. Chen, it's been a long time since we did our first professional theater together 14 years ago after the quake.
We sure did. Was it 14 years ago?
14 plus
It feels
years
like
ago.
Yesterday.
I know,
Man,
right?
yeah. That was the first, you were my first actor that I ever got to know.
So Jen, you play Hong, one of the newest recruits in Subway. And we were introduced to you in season 2. With all the, as Jason mentioned, the brewing friction between the new leader, Young Jun, and then the hero of Chinatown, Assam. Hong is kind of left in a difficult position, kind of being maybe a bit of a peacemaker, which is strange for such a ruthless killer. What do we have in store for you in season 3?
Well, it's actually really funny that that really sort of sums up my arc for between these two, because I'm so sort of caught in the middle as Hong. We have this kind of cool triangle offense going on in this past season with the trio, and I routinely felt during this season, during so many of our scenes, do you remember there was a little toy back in the 90s called Stretch Armstrong, where they would stretch your arms like one way and the other, and you're just sort of caught in the middle. And now you're just bouncing back and forth between the two, and it's really affecting me. It's really affecting me. And I remember, thinking, wow, this is such a gift as an actor, to just be able to play off such a rich relationship between the two of you guys. I always know what I'm trying to do in these scenes. And it would change a lot, and it would actually bring up, sometimes they say the deeper you go into a relationship, the more it starts to bring up like a lot of vulnerabilities inside you. And one of the big vulnerabilities that I got to explore as Hong this season was what happens when I get triggered. There's something really deep and raw and dark underneath just the happy-go-lucky outside that I generally show to the world. And I'm excited to see how the audience responds to getting a little peek behind the veil in a way.
I'm excited too, Chen. I've seen a few episodes of season 3. Can't wait to see the rest of it. Dianne, welcome. We don't know each other, but it's such a pleasure speaking with you. I'm such a big fan. How are you?
It's so nice to meet you. Thank you for hosting and moderating, and for being such a support of our show. So I really appreciate you doing this. And we don't get to see each other often as a cast, so this is always a delight to be able to spend an hour together. So thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. And you play Mai Ling, leader of the Long Z, and it's what a journey you've had since the death of our friend Henry Yuk in season 1. And Mai Ling is such a calculating and cunning character. She has to navigate so many different things between the Tongs in Chinatown, the white establishment, her own dynamics within the Long Z, and of course her brother, who's with the opposing Hop Wei. Is there a weakness in Mai Ling? And if there is, will we see any of that in season 3?
I'm just gonna say no. There's obviously no weakness there, obviously. But if there had to be one, I do believe Mai Ling's kind of kryptonite or soft spot is her brother Assam. I mean, there's not much she wouldn't do for him. I know he doesn't believe that, but I think deep down to her core, all she wants is that family connection between him, which is why she fights so hard to either protect him in this, run around type of way. But it's either, I would say, Assam is a big weakness of hers. He allows her kind of to cloudy her judgment here throughout the season. And this season in particular, I've been saying it in the press, you're going to see Mai Ling, you're going to see her kind of start in this beautiful place of power in season 3. And it's been really fun to play these different colors of what happens when she kind of stretches herself too far. She's overconfident, and I think that comes with consequences this season. And it's been a really exciting arc that I've been given the opportunity to play. But yeah, I'd say her brother is kind of her weak spot.
What do you find is the hardest part about playing Mai Ling? Is it those scenarios where she is kind of like the ruthless leader, or some of those areas that maybe some of the troubles and working through the dynamics when she shows some vulnerability, which is harder for you as an actor?
I think, you know what, in season 2, I really struggled with her because she was so cold and calculating and trying to maintain that power. And she does a lot of things that, I, as an actor, questioned her moral compass. Those things to fight against my own intuition to play against was really difficult. But I will say in this season, you get to see a much more vulnerable side of her, and it's this side that I've been hoping the audience gets to meet. This like young, she's still young at heart. I mean, I feel like she's been put in this position of power, surrounded by elders, and people answer to her, and she's lost this livelihood, and you see that given back to her this season. So I feel like season 2, I kind of struggled with her choices that she made, and like always being so cold and manipulative and calculative. And this season, I kind of get to be all sorts of emotions.
Exciting. Olivia, last we saw of Atoy was during the riots, which at the end of season 2, which very, very brutal scenes and a lot that Atoy had to go through. And there was some hints of Atoy wanting to maybe leave the business and kind of, get away from her as a brothel owner. Will we see some of that in season 3?
Absolutely. I think that I think this season we see the cost of being Atoy, and we see that the weight of the mask and the character she creates of Atoy after everything that happened in season 2. I think understandably she wants to move away from that, and she dares to hope that she can have a life of peace away from Chinatown. I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying that, because we were already hinting at that in season 2. And I think this season, what viewers are going to see is the real price it pays, and what a deliberate and hard choice it is to be the vigilante and to be the Atoy that we were introduced to. I don't want to give too much away, but I think this season, throwing back to what Jason said in his interview, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And in a way, Atoy wears a crown of her own.
Can't wait to see it. Thank you, Olivia.
Yeah.
Perry, last we saw Father Jun at the end of season 2. We see him packing his bags. He passes over the reins to young Jun, has his bag packed to places unknown. But you're obviously here with us, so Father Jun is not gone. Tell us more about Father Jun for season 3.
Well, yeah, it's a pretty incredible journey for Father June, I think, in this season, and I can't really give away anything, but I think I want to say that it's an incredible journey for all the actors, for all the leads, because we're all challenged, like Dianne said, to step outside or forced outside who our characters were in season 1 and 2. So we're put in different situations and we're challenged with different needs and desires, and what we all go through. I think it's really incredible. As I was reading the script and watching the scenes being shot, I think we were all experiencing what's happening to our characters. I mean, I can see it in everybody else, and from what happens with Young Jun and I just want to say big props to the writers, and Jonathan Tropper for giving Young Jun and I this sort of storyline where we can go to places where no other Asian father and son has gone before on television. So that's it's like Star Trek. We've gone to the final frontier where you could possibly go with a father and son. And it's like it's kind of an incredible opportunity for any actor to play that, to play our roles. I think to play what the situation that we're put in. And I just want to say it's a testament to the showrunners and the creators to say, let's give these actors this playground to play in this realm where they haven't played before. And I don't think anybody has ever seen this kind of storyline in a father and son relationship, especially an Asian father and son on American television. So it's just I have this incredible gratitude for the production to give me that opportunity as an actor to go there. And my managers once told me, a lot of actors will never do a show that they're proud of or happy with. They're just, like I just bought this, reading the other day for an off-Broadway play, and there was a line in it that says, prostitutes and actors, we're all the same. So we're hired to do these things that, we get paid to do, and it might not be the content, that we want. But in Warrior, it's just a dream to be able to do this and to be able to portray a father and son in a place where we've been sort of invisible and muzzled in many ways. So, I think fans of Father June and Young June are just going to be kind of like, whoa, I can't believe they went there in the most incredible way in this season.
Can't wait, Terry. And you mentioned the piece of not seeing a lot, kind of a new frontier for your character with Jason's. But I feel like that's the case with many of with Warrior as a whole. There's so many strong storylines and things that I've never seen on TV. Even just the setting in itself, the strong woman characters, the secularization of Asian males or the sexual situations of Asian males that you never see. So many things that are breaking barriers for the community that I agree, and I echo your sentiments to the creators and writers. Chen, on that note, we find out, we know in season 2 that Hong is gay, and I remember him talking with Assam and talking about the scenario, and Assam was saying, well, there's a lot more to worry about, referring to being Chinese in America during that time. So we get hints throughout the season of his sexuality. Will we see any more of his maybe personal relationships this season?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's just say, one of the fun things that Hong gets to do in this season is sort of live a life outside of Chinatown and outside of the Tang. And it's really the only life he's ever known. And it's really interesting because Hong is such a character of such dynamics, yin and yang in this character that I feel. And for being what I feel is he's relatively open about his sex. He knows who he is. But the question is, does he really? And because he really has only seen Qing Dynasty China, seen the life in a gang, he's really only been around a very, in his eyes at the beginning of the season, a very narrow spectrum of the world. But maybe you don't know what you don't know, and so sometimes, as with all the actors and the cast members on this season, sometimes you are forced outside of your comfort zone, and you see to what happens when those barn doors are sort of forced open, and so we get to, we get to see quite a bit more about that side of him.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Dianne, as leader of the Long Z with My Ling, season 2, your right hand man is the amazing martial artist Joe Taslim, the Judo King. But now there's word on the street that another martial arts legend, Mark Dacascos, is joining the Long Z. And what is it like working with two legendary martial artists?
Well, I'm a very lucky person in our cast. I will say that. But I truly, honestly, I grew up watching Mark. I know him personally from Iron Chef. I know obviously he's done so much more than that. But growing up in Canada, that's how I got my little taste of Mark Dacascos. And he blew me away the first time I met him. He's so warm and incredibly inviting, and the energy that he brings to a set. I mean, he's been in this industry for how many decades, and to his core, he is an artist. Like, he loves the craft of acting, and he takes it so incredibly seriously. And he is someone that you could sit with for hours and just talk shop and the show, and he's so supportive. And I feel the very same way about Joe. I've been very lucky to be partnered with Joe since season 1. And so the two of them together, our set, it's just like the most harmonious, lovely, quiet set. Like, everyone comes in. Mark brings like a 700-page book that he reads through. And, Joe's got his music in his ears. And I'm just sitting there like, what are we doing? This is our life. But they truly are incredible. And I got the privilege to, sit around and watch them rehearse their fight scenes and be on set when, most of the time when Joe's shooting, I'm shooting, and vice versa. So I always like to come and support and watch them, the days of the fight unit. And they're incredible at what they do. They truly are. I mean, we also have an incredible stunt team, but it helps a lot when our artists also can kick ass in real life. So yeah, I'm very fortunate. I've been partnered up with some pretty amazing, I mean, the whole cast is incredible, but Mark is a dream. He's a dream.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him in season 3. And speaking, you brought up a point about being able to work with Joe and Mark, but that brings up a point about how this is an ensemble cast. So many great actors and characters, but from different realms. We're talking about kind of the Asian American characters here today, but some fantastic characters and actors on the from the Irish side, from the government side. What is it? And it's very segregated and battling each other. And this goes to anyone. What is it like off camera, behind the scenes? Is it as segregated as it is on camera, or what's it like?
We all hate each other. No,
they're terrible. Yeah,
terrible. Egos, all egos. We always joke that like whenever the episodes come in, we'll like hound on the writers' doors, being like, when are so and so gonna get to shoot a scene with so and so? Because in my particular world, in seasons 1, it felt like I only shot with Joe, which I'm not complaining about. But then I was so excited in season 2 when I finally got a scene with Olivia, because her and I are so close in real life, like off camera, and to be able to actually get to show up and work together. So yeah, we all crave a little bit of each other in our warrior world. And in doing that, I feel like a lot of the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, we'll just come on set when someone's off and we know they're shooting a really big, important scene just for, you know, whether it's emotional support or just to, yeah, just come out and enjoy each other's company and craft. But we're a pretty supportive group of people, surprisingly. I mean, you don't hear it often. And I feel like what Perry was saying, it's been such a gift, this show. And, you know, obviously our cast, some of us have families and, you know, a separate personal life. But because we are away in Cape Town for so long, we've really learned to lean on each other. And it's been a beautiful relationship. I hogged all that time. Please, guys.
In my
No, I'm going to
reality-
echo that.
In my reality, if you think Warrior is dramatic, wait, I mean, behind the scenes is, I mean, our egos, oh my God, over the top, you know. I once saw Olivia put glass in Diane's shoes, like the ballerinas, you know. Right? And now I'm kidding.
Well, you know, it all starts at the top, but the hop way, Perry Young's ego just kind of pervades.
You're in my
everything.
light. You're in my light, Chen. Get out of my light.
Perry had a better spot on the panel screen than I did. I was
Yeah, exactly.
bribe Mike
Always
into that
Hong is
spot,
on the
you know?
bottom.
Yeah.
No,
we
totally,
literally.
In reality, we love. I mean, we check in with each other. Kieran, Boo, amazing. Tom, Weston Jones, amazing. I mean, the Chinatown squad cops that never hardly speak. They throw brides. We're at their place for barbecues. They're the sweetest people. I mean, all the, you know, they check in on us. We check in on them. How's the script going? How do you guys feel about this? Oh my God, when we're shooting that riot scene in season 2 at the end of the lynching, the Caucasian actors were so careful because it was such a hot, you know, incredibly emotionally hot moment. Everybody was so careful with our actor Kenneth Fook. You know, are you okay, Kenneth? The way that we're shaking the carriage, pulling him out, cut. They'd be like, are you okay? You know, everybody knew how incredibly you know, that moment was. So we're all very careful and respectful of each other. But, you know, it is one of those rare sets, I feel, that everybody truly, truly, really cares about everyone still.
And
And
someone
top
like
to
Kieran.
bottom.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Someone like Kieran too. He's actually he's got like an incredible director's eye, and he's got a real dramaturge streak in him. So you know, he helped a lot of us with finding our characters, you know, working scenes, talking things out. So there's a lot of collaboration behind the curtain, even if on screen we're on opposite sides of the fence. But behind the scenes, you know, there's just it's a really collaborative and supportive environment. Even if you know, we are pranking each other, and but I think that's part of the camaraderie. I think so.
Yeah. I think in a way, maybe because we're in South Africa for a good chunk of the year, and it's like a little bubble, right? We got to lean on each other, and also because I'm sure everybody in the cast feels this way about we don't get to shoot often with each other. If your characters are not like, when would Hong ever go to Mayor Buckley? I don't know. I can't understand him. But maybe because of that, it's like we crave each other, and it's because it's such a good family environment. We just hang out, and it's just every time we go anywhere in Cape Town, it was like 30 people reservation, you know, with the writers, the producers, and all of these things. I've never experienced anything like it, and I'm just lucky that I'm part of just this family.
You know that Mayor Buckley is
good
such
vibes.
a sweet person. Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Chen. And Mayor Buckley is such a sweet person in real life. He's a big, you know, baby, you know, and just like Teddy Bear, wanting to have us at his, you know, brides all the time, and trying to. I think he felt responsible that he was a local, and that he kind of wanted to entertain us, and he did an amazing job, you know. So it's that kind of stuff. You see him on camera, and you just, you know, I feel like I just have so much adoration for our actors because they're so different from the people they are in real life.
He's such a despicable character on the show.
Absolutely.
And it's the complete opposite.
Same with Dean.
And by the way, by the way, for the audience that maybe they don't understand, a braai is a South African barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Chen.
We come to audience questions, or should we? Because
Yeah. Some of these are awesome.
Yeah, so some of these are really fun.
Yeah, there's so many questions. I can start with Jonathan from Boston. Said, he's a huge fan, and he said, which was a great question. Did you learn a lot about Chinese American history while being on the show? And while this show is it's loosely based on history, are there things that you've learned, from doing the show that you didn't know before?
I learned that we were doing a podcast with Lisa Ling, and she said that in her research, she found out that at one point they did a census, and of the 20,000 registered Chinese men in San Francisco, something like 7 or 8 were women. That's it. And then within the next few years, that number increased to about 5,000 women, and something like 85% of that number were brought over for the purposes of sex trafficking and prostitution. So I didn't realize those specific numbers until actually quite recently.
I think a lot of the story plot points are actually quite accurate historically. Mm-hmm. So, I studied Asian American history in college. I mean, my minor was Asian American studies and Chinese American history. And, and that was part of the thing that I learned from Father Jude, seeing the characters like, wow, he really is a living person of Chinese American history. It's all like the writers did their research, and just seeing it play out was quite gratifying, that finally we had a TV show that addressed our history quite literally, but we of course dramatized it. So it was quite amazing to see that the writers did their research actually. Yeah.
Question from Wes from DC. If you could play, and we can go through each one of you, if you play any other character on the show, let's start with Dianne.
Oh, that's a great question. I would love to play Young June. I just think Jason has such a great time playing Young June. He's so unhinged. And yeah, whenever I watch him, he's such a delight to watch on screen. He just lights up, and I can see his little brain working, even when he's not, the camera's not on him necessarily. I feel like that energy that he brings into Young June, it really is so alive. But I would love to be Young June. He just gets to say whatever the hell he wants to say and do what he wants to do. Yeah. And I have so much adoration for Jason and his performance as Young June. That's my answer.
Chen, what about you?
The first person that jumped out at me was Mayor Buckley.
Really?
Mayor Buckley. Oh yeah. I feel like he's the exact opposite. Gets to do the exact opposite kind of behavior as Hong would. There's so much. I love Dan. I love every time you step in the carriage with him, and because it's literally like a war of wits. Whereas Hong, I think, is a little bit more base level of things. It really gets it, like, it's so interesting to watch, just like how when you get to work with your words, fight with your words, and let them cut like a dagger just as much as a knife would. How interesting that is, and as we crave what we can't have, so that's what I want.
Olivia, who would you choose?
I was leaning toward Young June too, but I would choose Hong for 2 reasons. Because if Dianne is Young June, then I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna step in and be her brother and be your little sidekick. And I love the character of Hong because I feel like he's very childlike, and he's such a comic foil, and he always brings like this much needed levity to balance out some really dark, deep scenes. And also he's eating all the time, so you're never going to be hungry. And I feel like, me and Dianne as Young June and Hong, I mean, let's do this.
And he's got
and I want that hair that you just, I feel like Chen does his hair acting to make him look a little
My performance is about
Trademark.
75% hair.
Yeah.
It's such a good trademark weapon too,
Yeah.
which someone had asked
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
But what's it called? Is it a chain?
shot.
Is there a name for that weapon?
There it is, actually. We had based it off of, when I was training for it, at first I trained with a 9-section whip, which is a kung fu like long chain weapon, but it ended up being too long. And then what I actually discovered, there is a Japanese weapon called a Manriki Kusari. It's actually pretty identical to my chain, except mine clasps and it doesn't. It's just the same length as about 2 feet long, and it's just a steel chain. And so it's a Manriki Kusari is the name of the weapon.
Perry, who would you pick?
Have you seen her outfits? I mean, oh my god! I would love to wear some of Atoy's outfits. I mean, and no, actually, I did a lot of theater, and I did some work where I did drag on theater in New York City. It's really fun playing women, and so I mean, and I just did a podcast earlier, and somebody said somebody has to call out and point out the designers for Dianne and Olivia, because they are so incredible. That their look, their fashion, their clothing is so, just supports their characters so much. It's just they're so iconic. In some ways, the visuals of Warrior is going to live on a long time because our imagery is so iconic, and I think, Olivia, the way that she just carries herself in this clothing, I think I could see Olivia become a toy every time she just leaves the trailer, right away. It's like Jack Nicholson once said, I just put the costume on and that's all I do, and it does itself, it speaks itself. But, getting to walk down that staircase in the brothel, I mean, those kind of shots, there's just so, it just says so much about art and craft, and then like how you carry yourself in that. Those are such incredibly beautiful moments. And I just think Olivia pulls it off so beautifully. And I think I had my brother Peter, when he was visiting the set, once shoot me walking down the stairs in the brothel, because I was like, this is the coolest thing, walking down these stairs. So.
Toy is the most desire. It's been heard that she's the most desirable woman in the Wild Wild West. It's been written.
Amazing.
So many other questions from so many different people. One question is, in terms of the shutting down between season 2 and season 3, was the set shut down? Did they have to recreate it, or was it put in?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing was
completely
taken out,
destroyed, and then rebuilt for season 3. Yeah,
that goes for the costumes, props.
Yeah.
Dismantled, sold. They sold the costumes. They had to rent the costumes back from a company in Spain that bought the costumes. If they didn't remake some of our costumes, yeah.
Actually, they were going to give us some of our costume items as souvenirs when they thought the show was done season 2. And it's really lucky they did that, because they ended up keeping some key pieces instead of selling them off to recoup costs. And so things like Toy's cloak, things like, a few.
My chain weapon.
Yeah, exactly. They still had those in hand, but everything else, like, all the sets you saw were rebuilt from scratch, and completely in different locations this season as well.
Wow. So many other questions. Let's just pick another one here. What do we need to do, this is from Paul, what do we need to do as a fan base to get a season 4? And normally that kind of question, I think, to me, it maybe is not the, you don't take that as serious. But when you know what happened with the history of Warrior, that question has a different meaning. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. May I field this one?
Yeah, do it.
I've actually, have thought about this question. Actually, this has been brought up with me in the press too. First off, dude, our fans are the best in the world, and it is a direct result of viewers watching this show's first and second seasons when it went to the former HBO Max, now Max, and that we did so well numbers wise, that really was sort of pushed this over the edge and greenlit the third. So for me, it's been incredible, just the audience response. But to answer that question, I would just say, you know, tune in and talk about it a lot, and which they really have. And you know, luckily, we're able to, you know, to have such a supportive fan base that really is quite vocal, I would say. So more vocalness, and you know, especially in this landscape where there's a lot of things on TV, a lot of things on streaming, you know, numbers don't lie. Just tune in and enjoy it.
Can I add that it's really, from what I understand, important that people tune in that first month. So sometimes I know people like to wait until all the episodes are out so that they can binge it all at once. But from what I understand, that the earliest HBO will make it, or whatever we're called now, the Max, HBO, whatever our network is called now, the earliest I would make a decision on a season 4 would be after looking at least 1 month of numbers. So, you know, it feels like our show might have to overperform. So that first month is really important.
And how is Warrior being released? Like it comes out the 29th, but is it the whole thing, or is it spread out? Do you know?
Are we allowed to say?
I don't know. Oh, I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
No. They've said that. It releases. It drops the first 3.
Yes.
On Thursday, and then week by week is the.
Gotcha.
The thing. Yeah.
So there we have a few more minutes left. There's a lot of questions about stunts and the action scenes. Adam says, how long does it take to shoot some of these fight scenes? And then I have some follow-ups on that. Or how long does it take to shoot some of those amazing fight scenes?
I don't think one ever went over 3 days, but anywhere from 1 to 3 days. What do you guys say?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely depends on how big and the scope of the scene and how many performers there are. But I know I shouldn't say, actually, that's a huge spoiler. Never mind.
I know. I know the scene in season. Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Let's do round robin. What's the next one? Let's try to get as many into them as possible.
Well, about 1 to 3 days, and then sometimes like as quick as maybe like
half
4 hours.
Yeah.
And also, I will. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. I will just say that like the actors are, you know, learning them over. Sometimes they have like a few rehearsals. Sometimes they have weeks leading up to it. It just really depends on the time given on how heavy we play on each episode.
How big is Brett's stunt team?
We had 50. Were we up at 50 people?
More. We had. I mean, it was
no, we went in on those rap gifts.
That's right. Yeah, it was. I think it was about 60.
Yeah.
The huge stunt team.
Yeah, the full timers, right? Like the
full timers. Yeah, and then you know they would bring in like
right. Because some folks were from Kazakhstan. And,
yeah.
We brought in some stunt performers from Canada this season, and the main stunt team is from China. They're just incredible, and we're so lucky that some of them have come from like seasons 1 or 2 and 3, and they've just like stuck with us, and it's really a family.
Yeah.
There's a question saying that they heard that Jonathan Chopper said Perry was in the writers' room this season. Is that true, Perry?
No, they must have mistaken, which people do often. They mistake me for Hoon Lee, which is a compliment. So it's Hoon Lee that was in the writers' room. But I think all of us have given writers, you know, like our thoughts, and they do listen to us, which is quite amazing.
Copious notes.
Okay, so a few final speed round questions. We will start with Warrior slang. Olivia, what is ducks?
Oh no.
What we call white people.
Okay. Yeah. Perry, onions.
Onions is the fresh off the boat. The immigrants. Yeah.
I'm not gonna know these.
No, Diane, it's getting to you, man. You're next.
Diane, what is the salt?
What? Sorry.
The salt. Across the salt.
Oh, the ocean, like to cross the ocean to go back to China is usually referenced.
Ah. And Chen, what is getting sticky?
Ooh,
I know that one.
Everybody
Fun
knows
one.
that one. It's about you're gonna have some fun. That's the text.
Final. Excluding the obvious choices like Assam, Leary, and Lee Young, if you could pick one character to join you in a fight, in a battle, who would you pick?
Wait, hold on. Us ourselves, like Chen Tang needing to recruit a character, or our character also there?
Yeah, this comes from Ron from New Hampshire. I do not know what he meant, but let's just say I guess it would be more interesting if it's you as a person. You had one character. Who would you take as your fighting partner?
Atoy, easy, hands down.
Woo! Yes.
Hands down, no question.
My Ling is quite a strategist. You need that strategy.
About that
right?
too, actually.
Oh.
Yeah,
I also have a gun. People forget that. I have a sliding gun.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
That
you
works
go.
wonders.
Yeah.
Chen.
Big Bill, he's got a rifle.
Ooh.
Like, I'm very direct,
Olivia.
Oh man. I'll just say Mark DeCoscos because he's an option. So who wouldn't want that?
Well, thank you guys for joining today for the panel. I am so excited for season 3 of Warrior. Thank you everybody here who has supported Warrior for 3 seasons. And if you haven't seen Warrior and just joined the panel, please, I'm here as a not as an actor, as a fan of Warrior. And it is really, I think, one of the best things on TV right now, and especially as an Asian American. I want to thank Cape. Thank you so much for helping to host this event and being so supportive of not just Warrior, but our community as a whole. And finally, thank you, Cass. Thank you, Olivia, Perry, Diane, Chen, and Jason. Best of luck for this season. Can't wait to see the rest of season 3.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Cape. Thank you, audience.
And thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. It was a lot of fun, and I was laughing in the background. So.
Man, great.
But I just want to thank everyone for tuning in live, and the chat box was like on fire.
Wow,
incredible. But if you guys enjoy the panels and events like this one, we appreciate a tax-deductible donation to support our work, not only for panels, but also our programming. We're only a 4-women team, so every dollar means everything. And you can donate at our website at kateusa.org/donate. Otherwise, you could follow us on social media. We're on Facebook as Cape and on Twitter and Instagram at CapeUSA. But most importantly, please catch the 3rd season of Warrior on Thursday, June 29th. The first few episodes stream on Max. And like Olivia said, it is important to watch the first month. So talk about it on social media, tag Stream on Max, #WarriorMax to make sure the studios executives know that you love the show and want more. And so these guys can continue to work. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.